From an online product perspective, one of the more powerful examples of gamification from an element perspective is the Facebook like. Think about how powerful that is. You know, when somebody likes something that you've posted, there's a super strong social element to that.
From Mobilecast Media's headquarters in Silicon Valley, this is Mobile App Development TV with John Houghton.
Welcome to Mobile App Development TV. I'm your host, John Houghton, and we're talking today about gamification. Now, gamification is very important if you want to bring people to your app and get them to stay and have them come back. It needs to have a gamification element. It's important not just for games, but for any type of app. So we're talking today with Danny Macco. He is a subject matter expert in this area, and he worked recently as the general manager of the digital division of University Games, where his job was to take physical board games and to turn them into mobile games. How are you doing today, Danny?
Good, John. Thank you for inviting me.
A lot of people don't know what gamification is. What is gamification in your words, and why does it matter?
So there's often a lot of confusion around what gamification is, and maybe it's easier to describe what it's not. Often people think gamification is taking a non-game product and turning it into a game. While there may be some use cases where that's helpful, generally that's not what's meant by gamification. There are four primary variables that drive a successful game. They have to be discovered. There's millions and millions, thousands, hundreds of thousands of apps available on these various app stores. They have to have audiences that are large audiences to be able to make their monetization model work. They need to retain their users in order to maximize the lifetime value of their players and generate enough revenue to make their business model work. And they need to monetize those players. Because mobile applications, just as an example, or mobile games, is such a competitive environment, and you're competing against other developers that are building free games, so you're competing against free. The successful game developers have become masters at maximizing and optimizing these four things. So now when you take a step back and you look at any business, whether it's an online business or a traditional product, and you think about it, they have those exact same needs and issues. They need to have their product discovered, whether traditionally it's through various marketing channels, etc., but people have to find their product. They have to have enough consumers to buy it to make it a good business model. So audience is important for them too. Usually just uses different terms to refer to customers as opposed to audience. You want to retain those users. This is why loyalty programs have been so helpful and utilized to keep people around, engage with your brand so that there's more and more opportunity over time to provide value in exchange for revenue. And then monetizing. So because the problems or the variables related to success on both types of businesses are the same, gamification is really about using those proven methods of maximizing revenue, engagement, etc., success in general in the gaming world, and applying them to non-traditional or non-game types of products and businesses.
And monetization is the end goal. Are there some examples of how gamification can be incorporated into a product?
Well, in reality, gamification is all around us. Keeping in mind that often you're interacting with products without even realizing that there's been gamification considerations in the design and development of that product. Loyalty programs are a great example, which you can see everywhere, whether it's at Safeway or flying on an airline. Those all have game mechanics in them. Some other subtle examples of things that many of you use on a regular basis. LinkedIn, as an example, has a lot of game mechanics associated with it that you may not be thinking about. The progression bar, as an example. There's a mechanic associated with achievement, and people want to feel progression. So by putting a progression bar there, people are able to get that feedback of, hey, I just accomplished something, and I can see real stimulus coming back to me that it's being accomplished. There's a certain sense of reward to see that you're progressing. There are other examples of a vanity mechanic. When LinkedIn added the who's looking at your profile, Well, you know, when people go in there and look at who's looked at their profile, there's a little bit of, you know, appreciation, reward from a vanity perspective. That, hey, people think I'm important. You know, I'm getting some validation on who I am and what I'm doing. Appointment mechanics. So when you look at the stats associated with people that have viewed your profile, you'll notice that you can only look at the updates of that on the graph once a week. So for some types of people that are using the application, they'll come back, you know, knowing that, oh, it's Thursday and now I can see my stats for last week. Have I gone up? Have I gone down? Another great example of a game mechanic in LinkedIn is endorsements, which really utilizes what's called a gifting mechanic. So when people come in and they endorse you, to some extent they're gifting you. They're giving recognition that you've done certain things, which is of value to you. Now the gifting mechanic is really interesting and important in that in gifting, often people when they receive a gift, they feel obligated to some extent to give a gift back. And so you'll find that when people endorse people, those people that have been endorsed will often go back and endorse the people who endorse them. Now, of course, this is great for LinkedIn as a product because it brings people back to the environment, back to their product, and facilitates retention of their users. Probably the most, you know, from an online product perspective, one of the more powerful examples of gamification from an element perspective is the Facebook like. Think about how powerful that is. You know, when somebody likes something that you've posted, there's a super strong social element to that. You're interacting with others. There's a vanity element. Look, somebody liked what I said or what I liked or what I posted. There's a reward for, you know, if I put up content, I'll get that feedback from people. Hopefully not negative feedback, and actually you notice that they've done a good job of making it very difficult to get negative feedback, or positive. You know, they like what I'm doing. And so really not only powerful game mechanic, but an example of an element that a company's, you know, hinged and revolves their entire business around.
Well, game mechanics can certainly help make an app more successful. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks, Danny, and thank you for joining us. I'm John Houghton for Mobile App Development TV here in Silicon Valley. Mobile App Development TV is part of the Mobilecast Media blog. For more information, please visit mobilecastmedia.com/blog. Thank you.